This is Nightline.
Tonight, the horrifying Idaho college murders 911 call obtained by ABC News.
911 location of your emergency.
Hi, something is happening.
The housemate's desperate plea for help.
She's not so what's wrong. She's not waking up.
After 4 students have been murdered in the house.
Something happened in our house. We don't know what.
What a victim's family is saying about the survivors. Plus, Sean Diddy Combs in court today, looking older and graying hair, facing new allegations but denying all wrongdoing. The Mo Money, Mo Problems rapper nearing the start of his trial. Why the disgraced mogul's lawyers are trying to get the now infamous video first obtained by CNN tossed out. And Molly Ringwald.
Hey, but a lot can happen over a year. I mean, you could come back next fall as a completely normal person.
The 16 Candles star on Monica Lewinsky's podcast, opening up about being 80s director John Hughes' muse at the age of 15.
It always felt incredibly complimentary. But yeah, looking back on it, there was something a little peculiar.
The strange things she says she may never be able to understand. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Tonight, the chilling 911 call by the surviving housemates in the Idaho college slams, awakening after the horrifying quadruple murder. Their confusion obvious, their terror palpable, their nightmare only just beginning. Here's ABC's Kenan Whitworth.
Tonight, the frantic call for help.
911 location of your emergency.
Hi, something is happening.
Chilling new audio obtained by ABC News of a surviving roommate calling 911 nearly 8 hours after 4 students were stabbed to death in this home near the University of Idaho.
Something happened in our house. We don't know what.
What is the address of the emergency?
1122.
One of 2 surviving roommates is on the line, standing in the driveway, terrified and sobbing as she passes the phone to a neighbor who just arrived.
One of the roommates is passed out, and she was drunk last night and she's not waking up.
Okay.
Oh, and they saw some man in their house last night.
The roommate is then heard again pleading with the dispatcher.
Can I just tell you what happened pretty much?
What is going on currently? Is someone passed out right now?
I don't really know, but pretty much at 4 a.m.
Okay, I need to know what's going on right now if someone is passed out. Can you find that out?
Yeah, I'll come. Come on, Bethany, you gotta go check. But we have to.
You can hear the young woman coaxing her roommate back into that house, and they make their way inside.
Is she passed out? She's not waking up.
You can hear the anguish. For the last 2 years, the murder of Kaylee Gonzalez, Madison Mogan, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin have gripped the nation. And the lawyers for the alleged killer, Brian Kohberger, say he is innocent. The former PhD student was arrested weeks after the murders.
The defense has tried to cast doubt on one of the surviving roommates' credibility.
Today, the family of victim Kaylee Gonzalez defending the survivors in a statement saying that every breath, every cry, every tremor in the voice reveals a reality so cruel, so brutally honest, it cuts deeper than anything fiction could devise. Please do not waste your energy pointing fingers at those who could not have prevented it. Over the last few weeks, more evidence has been released, helping paint a picture of what happened that November night in 2022.
We're getting a different glimpse at evidence like DNA on their fingernails, text messages and phone calls, timelines that we never heard or saw before. The dots are beginning to connect.
Transcripts showing time-stamped text messages between the 2 survivors after one told authorities she saw a man clad in black in the home the night of the murders. The filing reveals she tried unsuccessfully to reach the victims. Between 4:22 and 4:24 a.m., the surviving roommates text each other. I'm freaking out right now. No, it's like a ski mask almost. The survivor on the first floor texting back, run down here. It's unclear what happened next, but about 6 hours later, one of the survivors tries again but can't reach the victim's phone by text. Texting Kaylee, please answer. texting Madison, "Are you up?" And just before noon, more than 7 hours after the murders, that 911 call is made.
In creating those kind of points of when communications occurred and when a time of death had occurred, prosecutors are able to drive home the fact that there was an opportunity and a time that these murders could have occurred, and directly point at Brian Kohberger as being the individual based on his location, based on his cell phone when he traveled from one location to another, and that period when no one could track him.
Brian Kohberger's attorneys don't want the exchanges admitted during trial.
The defense is making the argument that this is hearsay, an out-of-court statement said for the truth of the matter asserted. But the prosecution is arguing the text messages, the phone calls. It's not meant to prove the contents of those messages, but to show a timeline, to show how people were reacting and how this murder occurred throughout the time frame that they're arguing.
Kohberger had been working on his PhD in criminology at Washington State University, about 8 miles across state lines from the University of Idaho, where Kaylee, Maddie, Xana, and Ethan were just starting their futures.
They were all friends and had shared a life together in college, and were looking forward to going on and hopefully doing great things, whether it was together or apart. And all of that came to a sudden halt.
The horrific scene unfolding the night of November 12th, 2022. Kaylee and Maddie, newly 21 and lifelong best friends, went to a popular campus bar around 10 p.m. They're later seen at the grub truck, laughing and ordering food. And this video appears to be the last time they were seen alive before turning in for the night. Authorities say their roommate, Xana, and her boyfriend, Ethan, both 20, were at a fraternity party earlier that same night, arriving home around 1:45 a.m. There's 3 stories to the house. Kaylee and Maddie were together in Maddie's room on the 3rd floor. Kaylee's dog Murphy was alone in Kaylee's bedroom just down the hall. Ethan was staying over that night in Xana's room, which was on the 2nd floor. One of the other roommates in the house also on the 2nd floor, and one in a bedroom on the 1st floor.
Everything was so normal in that home on King Road. Nobody could have imagined it was about to become a house of horror.
Police responding to a 911 call just before noon, hours after law enforcement say the murders happened.
When the lead sergeant goes into the house, he later told people how the high smell of blood rose up in his nostrils, and it took him back.
This is a brutal crime scene. These victims were not shot. They were stabbed to death.
What was baffling to police, they say, is that it didn't appear that there was any forced entry. It doesn't appear that any of the victims had been sexually assaulted.
And weeks later, Kohberger was arrested at his parents' home in Pennsylvania.
Last night, detectives arrested 28-year-old Brian Christopher Kohberger.
Since his arrest, prosecutors have maintained that surveillance footage, cell phone records, and DNA evidence link Kohberger to the murders. And the linchpin is Kohberger's DNA.
We're not just talking about his DNA happened to be found in, a dresser drawer or something. It was found on a knife sheath where 4 people were killed by a knife. This is as crime scene as it gets.
But Kohberger's attorneys have tried to have that crucial DNA evidence dismissed, claiming it was unlawfully obtained using public genealogy websites.
If you can upload one of these profiles for $12 and find out all kinds of information, how is that not a Fourth Amendment issue? That was done twice without a warrant in this case.
Kohberger's attorneys also argued that authorities violated the law when they used a garbage collector to retrieve trash from the Kohberger family home. It's in a gated neighborhood in Pennsylvania, and according to his lawyers, they did it without a warrant. The FBI allegedly using the garbage to make that DNA match.
I think it is different when you have the FBI telling the trash man what to do.
But prosecutors have argued all facets of the investigation, including the DNA and the use of public genealogy databases, were done properly.
The individuals who are utilizing these databases, and we're talking about millions of them, are willingly sharing their information with each other. The issue is that no one sharing this information with millions of other people could have a reasonable expectation of privacy.
And the judge siding with the state, allowing the DNA evidence to be presented to the jury. Kohberger's jury trial is slated to begin in August, and the 2 surviving roommates are expected to testify. His defense team attempting to strike down the death penalty on the basis of his autism spectrum disorder. For the family and the loved ones of the victims, the years-long nightmare continues as they just hold on to their memories.
Kaylee is like the definition of sunshine.
To know Kaylee was to love Kaylee.
Kaylee and Maddie had been best friends since 6th grade.
They did absolutely everything together. First dates, first boyfriends, graduated high school. They had their first heartbreaks together. Kaylee was 12, 13 years old. They're blasting Taylor Swift in the basement, comforting each other.
If I had one or two words to describe Maddie Mae, it would be just an angel. She just made me proud.
Xana was in the same sorority as Maddie. She was dating Ethan, a freshman, and also a triplet.
My first impression of Ethan was he's just this huge dude that you wouldn't really approach, but as soon as you really got to know him, you realize that he's like one big teddy bear.
This case has been so fraught for so long now, for this small community and for a nation that has watched getting whoever was responsible for these killings, getting them brought to justice in whatever way the jury decides. That's what we're going to start to see this coming August.
Our thanks to Kana. For much more in this story, watch Impact by Nightline, the King Road Killings, now streaming on Hulu. When we come back, an older-looking Sean Diddy Combs in court. His list of allegations growing but still denying all charges. Why we might soon know the identities of some of the witnesses against him. Welcome back. Agreeing Sean Diddy Combs in court today, pleading not guilty to charges in new indictments in front of his mother and some of his children. Here's ABC's senior investigative correspondent, Aaron Katersky.
Sean Diddy Combs returned to court looking older, his hair and beard gone gray after his arrest last September on federal charges of racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution. His mother and 2 of his 7 children with him in the courtroom as Combs pleaded not guilty to new indictments that expand the case against him. Federal prosecutors now allege Combs' criminal conduct dates back to 2004. New indictments include accounts from 2 additional alleged victims. And prosecutors allege Combs forced employees to work long hours, threatened physical and reputational harm, and forced one employee to engage in sexual acts with him. Federal prosecutors also told the judge there are 20 other potential witnesses who can describe what Combs allegedly did. The judge wants identities of these potential witnesses disclosed to the defense in the coming days, despite prosecutors saying some of them are incredibly frightened about becoming publicly known. Combs has been accused by prosecutors of coercing women, hiring prostitutes, and arranging prolonged sex performances known as freak-offs.
Prosecutors say that these were elaborately produced events, bringing lighting in, cameras, linens.
Combs' defense taking aim at what could be a critical piece of evidence, claiming that surveillance footage first obtained by CNN showing Combs kicking and dragging singer Cassie Ventura in a hotel was misleading and deceptive, arguing that forensic video analysis shows that speeding up the video to make it falsely appear that the actions in the video are taking place faster than they are. In a statement, CNN saying they never altered the video and did not destroy the original copy of the footage, which was retained by the source. CNN aired the story about the video several months before Combs was arrested. The 55-year-old's legal troubles have remained in the spotlight since he settled a lawsuit filed by Ventura with no admission of wrongdoing in 2023.
Cassie Ventura's lawsuit gave the blueprint for the Southern District of New York to investigate Sean Combs, and the lawsuits that followed gave the brick and mortar to build the case against him.
After that surveillance video surfaced last May, he spoke out on his social media.
My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video.
He was arrested last September and is expected to stand trial in May.
The defense wants to start jury selection on May 5th, which will take approximately 2 weeks because everyone in the country knows who Sean Diddy Combs is.
For now, Combs remains in federal jail in Brooklyn.
Any comment, Ms. Combs?
After sharing a smile with his family in court today, Combs' mother and children were seen walking hand in hand as they left.
Our thanks to Aaron. When we come back, Molly Ringwald became one of the 80s biggest teen stars thanks to John Hughes movies like Pretty in Pink. What's she saying now about her peculiar relationship with the much older director? And finally tonight, Molly Ringwald knows that being the star in those iconic John Hughes movies catapulted her to stardom in the 80s. But she says the passage of time now has her seeing that working relationship differently. Here's ABC's Eva Pilgrim.
They forgot my birthday.
Molly Ringwald was one of the biggest actors of the 80s, starring in John Hughes movies like Pretty in Pink and The Breakfast Club. Hughes was 33 when he wrote 16 Candles, using a then 15-year-old Ringwald as his muse.
He wrote that just based on a headshot. When it came time to cast it and they said, you know, who do you want? He said the girl that I wrote this about. And so we met and yeah. And
it's an extraordinary story.
Now, more than 40 years later, she is re-examining their working relationship on the Reclaiming with Monica Lewinsky podcast.
In terms of did I know that I was a muse? I mean, he told me that story, but you know, when you're that age, I mean, I had nothing really to compare it to. It didn't seem that strange to me. Mm-hmm. I mean, now it does.
Right. Like strange, still complimentary, or strange, weird, creepy in any way?
It's peculiar.
Yeah.
It's complimentary. I mean, it always felt incredibly complimentary. But yeah, looking back on it, there was something a little peculiar.
As we get older, we have a better understanding of the psychology of power and dynamics, and it's important for people to understand you don't have to be a Hollywood celebrity for this to be applicable to your life right now.
Now 57, Ringwald says it's a connection she will be contemplating for the rest of her life.
Look, I know he's such an important person in your life, and so
but
I don't
it's
want to
complex.
disparage.
It's definitely complex, and I'm all, you know, and it's something that I turn over in my head a lot, and try to figure out how that all affected me. And I feel like I'm still processing all of that.
Our thanks to Eva. Ringwald going on to acknowledge that she's still processing a lot of that time in her life, saying while she was happy with the movies, she found all the fame to be really overwhelming and scary. That's Nightline for this evening. Catch our full episodes on Hulu. We'll see you right back here same time Monday. Thanks for the company, America. Have a good and safe weekend.